All right, I want to talk to you about wallets or storage. I think there's some, I shouldn't say there's confusion, but I look at it, I think, differently than the way a lot of people look at it. For me, the question is, what are the ways and points at which I could lose my coins? And I try to know what are all those possibilities and which are the least likely to happen and which ones do I want to manage. So, for example, I consider the safest option for me, is to keep my tokens directly on the blockchain where I am the only one who has the secret key. For me, I like that because I'm kind of organized. Now, for some people, that might not even be a good option because you're like, well, I'm going to lose the key. In that case, you want someone else to handle it for you. And maybe that's an exchange. And I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, for me, I believe the safest option. So, for example, I've talked about this in other videos with Stellar. I leave my Stellar lumens directly on the Stellar blockchain, which means it's kind of like you leave it in the database, but it's not a regular database. It's a blockchain database in which nobody can get into it, no one can steal it, no one can find it unless they have the secret key. I'm the only one with the secret key, and I'll talk a little bit about how to save your secret key. That's another, there's still risk. I have to trust somebody. I have to trust myself. So maybe I'll talk about that for a second. How to save your key. Because there was some statistic out recently that people believe that 10% of all Bitcoins have been lost. I believe the number is much higher. I think that a lot of people already who have lost their tokens don't even know they've lost it yet. I'm like if anybody who knows me knows I'm like hyper organized. And I can see how difficult, especially once you get over having 5 coins, and depending on also how you're organizing it, people are going to forget that they bought something and where they put it, and you know how it is when you hide something, you may forget the hiding place. Like, this is tricky. So for me, where to keep the secret keys, there's 2 options. The first thing that I always remember when you're talking about security, one thing to keep in mind is the psychology behind it. For example, if in your house you have a safe, if someone breaks into your house, the first thing they're going to do is take the safe. Now, if this is some infinitely impenetrable safe, okay, fine. But most safes, some criminal with enough incentive can get into it. So it's almost like a safe is not safe unless the safe is hidden. They have these safes in the floor, but that's pretty high end, right? Sometimes it's psychology. So, for example, you have it in a dirty sock, that you leave in your closet. Now, that might be good, and someone's not going to think to look there. But on the other hand, someone may throw it in the laundry, or you may forget which sock or where the sock was that you put it there. So, but the psychology of where to put it can sort of help. If a criminal comes in, they're going to go right for there's certain places. That looks like a jewelry box. There's a safe, in the bedroom, the top drawer, whatever, where there's maybe valuables. This is where people go. But if you have it in some random, you keep it in the Cheerios cereal box and you don't eat Cheerios and you save it, that's fine. But the cleaner may be come and look in and go, these Cheerios are old, and throw them out. So think about where you save it. If it's in your house, another place, too, your computer, it's not that secure, right? I mean, if someone could come and sit down, if you have roommates or someone in your house, if someone gets your email, they can get into your Gmail and get to all your things. So but I feel like you could save it in your computer. Now, there's ways to encrypt things in your computer and all that, and, but to keep this relatively simple, for example, let's say you got lots of files, on your computer, and you have one folder, kids' birthday pictures, and you have one image hidden in the middle of there, which is your secret key thing. Like, who would ever go to look there, right? But at the same time, you got to remember where it is. And let's say, you got 3 kids, but by the time they turned 18, you got a ton of pictures in that folder. Are you going to remember where that picture is? And maybe that's just a matter of going through thousands of photos. So, only having to trust yourself, for me, is the safest one, because I do trust myself. But be aware that that still requires trust. Now, on the other hand, so exchanges. When you leave your money in an exchange, you are trusting, you're basically trusting them to hold your private key for you. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but if the exchange collapses, there's, these exchanges are, there's trading on margin, high volatile, they screw something up, they lose a bunch of money, then they don't have it anymore, and you don't get it, right? That can't happen to me if I'm holding my own key, because nobody's touching it, no one's trading, no one's lending on my money. It's mine. In an exchange, you do have to worry about that. And theft. They could be the most trustworthy, wonderful exchange, but there was some mistake, some oversight, inside job, someone comes and steals the money. That's your money. Or part of your money. You may lose your money that way. So you have to trust an exchange. And some exchanges are more trusted than others. I feel that, a Coinbase regulated in New York City is probably taking every precaution that they could possibly take. Still possible that something could happen, but also with all the oversight and the way the U.S. government with financial regulations works, they'd probably have to pay you back. I don't know. It feels pretty trustworthy, but still, I don't want to leave my coins on there. Now, another point of keeping your coins on an exchange, when there's a Bitcoin fork and you're in an exchange, you may not get that fork. Or I have my money in this MyEther wallet, which is just a viewer to view my money on the blockchain. And so anyways, bottom line, my Ethereum is simply on the blockchain, and a lot of new coins, they launch their new coin and they're like, you know what, let's just give some free to everyone who owns Ethereum. And they give them to everybody, but if you're in an exchange, they're like, well, we're not going to just give a bunch to an exchange because they don't trust that they'll distribute them. So you only get the free coins if you're doing this option of simply holding it yourself on the blockchain. So every time I go into my Ether wallet, I see there's some new coin, and they gave me a few, $50 worth, $80 worth. And it's not based on, someone said to me, well, you have a lot of Ether, so you probably get a lot. It looks to me like, and I've seen this on some, where they're like, if you have more than 0.1 Ethereum, we're going to give you, 50 free, or $50 worth, or $25 worth, or whatever it is. They just give the same amount to everybody. It's not based on, well, I have a lot of Ether, so they give me a lot of whatever token. It looks like it's more evenly distributed. So that's another advantage to not being in an exchange. Now the other concern with exchanges, but you can't really, I'm talking a little mostly about storing your coins once you get them. Once you buy a coin, you pretty much have to go through an exchange. And a lot of people are concerned when you go to an exchange, they have regulations, these financial regulations. They need from you your license and photos and proof of this and proof of that and link to your bank account, your social security number. They ask for everything. And you sort of have to give it because this is the laws that they have to follow. And if you want to get in, you give them their info. I'm not worried about them stealing my identity, but that's another point of risk. If someone breaks into the exchange and steals your identity, that would be a problem. Now, hopefully, if it's a good exchange, they would keep all that identity stuff offline. I don't think they need it online. It should be offline. And so that's not a high risk. So, a lot of people ask me when you go into an exchange, geez, they're asking all this info. Should I give it to them? I think you should. Or you have to. I don't know what your choice is. And you also have to be very careful. It's like, when I sign up, if my bank account is David Levine and I sign up on the exchange as Dave Levine, they throw their hands up. Who? Dave Levine? Dave? That's two different people. They're really sticklers on the data. So, you do. Oh my God, sprinklers are turning on. Let's hope that's not about to hit my. I think we're okay. All right. So where were we? Now, so the one of the things that brought me to this topic in the first place, a lot of people talk about hot and cold storage, which simply means that this pretty much means you're storing it with an exchange, and cold means they're storing it offline, which is safer from theft. Hot means they're storing it as sort of available online, which would imply a higher risk. But I don't mess with either. I don't leave things on exchanges, so I don't care about hot and cold. And to be honest, myetherwallet.com that I go to. So back to that, and the same thing with the Stellar account viewer. just to be clear, this is not a website who has my ID, or that I'm logging in, or is saving something, or if the website goes down, I lose it. It is simply a page based on open source protocol that allows me to view what I have on the blockchain. If this website, if myetherwallet.com goes down, there's other websites where people could build, systems for viewing what I own on the blockchain. I'm not dependent on that website. And so, to the point of hot and cold, I mean, I can log into myetherwallet.com and send my stuff out at any moment. I mean, does that make it a hot wallet? I guess so, but it's not insecure. Now, that brings to the other point of hotness, which would maybe be having it available on your phone. Now, I hear a lot of people talk about this, but I don't know why you would want anything on your phone. Now, someday there will be payments. Everyone's like, you can buy it. When are we going to be able to buy in Starbucks with your cryptocurrency? That's not happening in the near future. I don't think anyone's spending their cryptocurrency on anything at this point. I mean, some people are, but I mean, in general, I think right now, we are venture capitalists investing, hopefully with a long time horizon, on buy and hold. So I just want to download and save it. Now, as I mentioned, I believe there are ways you could sort of save it on your computer in a secret way that could be safe. But on the phone, it scares me more because, I don't know, it seems a lot easier to steal your phone, whereas on your computer, someone has to get into your house. Now, I guess if you had it on Google Drive, technically it's on your phone too. But in general, I mean, I think if you have an app on your phone and somebody steals it, that's, to me, I don't want anything near the phone. So, and I don't see the point of it. Why would you want it on the phone? And even if you're a day trader, I mean, if you're day trading on the phone, I don't know. Listen, I think you're crazy. If you're day trading at all, I think you're crazy. Even just trading. I'm all about buy and hold. I understand some people make money with trading. Granted, they don't make as much as buy and hold people, but do your thing. Just to me, the phone is just another step of insecurity, simply because it's with you all the time. It's much easier for someone to steal something off your body when you're out in public than breaking into your house, So I would be very careful of any of these apps on your phone right now. But also, what's the purpose? What are you trying to do? Why is it on your phone? Okay. So, now there's another point that is interesting, that it's a little early, is the idea of a decentralized exchange. This is an exchange not owned by anyone, theoretically. And this may already exist, but maybe not with a lot of volume. So one of the things with trading and an exchange, you want to make sure they have volume. An exchange may be the greatest exchange, the best technology, they're awesome, but nobody's buying and selling on it. You're not going to get a good price, you can't buy what you want. So volume matters. So regarding a decentralized exchange, in theory, and this may exist, like I said, and I don't think if it exists, I'm sure it sort of exists technologically. I'm not sure it exists with any volume anywhere for what you want to buy. But someday there may be a decentralized exchange where you can upload money and the exchange is not holding it. It's sort of still on the blockchain or a blockchain in a safe way, but you're on the exchange for trading, and then you trade with somebody else directly, and they also directly, it's sort of trading one-on-one through an exchange. I mean, an analogy would be, if it was in real life, a physical place that you go to where you trade with individuals. So you don't have to trust any in-between person. You're just, here, I'll sell you this, and you give me that money directly. You don't have to worry about anyone stealing it. And theoretically, you can do that with a decentralized exchange. And whether this is built in a way that we can truly trust, and then has any volume on the coins you want to trade, I'm not sure it exists. Like I said, eventually it will. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Now, that's not about storage. That's about buying and selling. But anyways, okay. Another place to store, when you're talking about trusting yourself is a security box. Could be a decent way. You know, you print it out, you put it in a security box. Now, one thing with that, now another issue is, what if you die, right? You're the only one with your secret key and you die. No one even knows that you own it. Like, then it's gone. So one thing you could do is you take your secret keys and all your information, you put it in a security box, and I wouldn't tell anybody that you have all this money and coins in a security box. You tell one person, you put it in your will, you tell one person, listen, if I die, I got a security box. You don't have to mention what's in it, just say FYI, and then you die, and someone will go and they'll figure it out. That's another, probably a good backup place to save your stuff. And I think that's about it. So that was a little bit all over the place, but I've heard a lot of these things and these questions come up. Hopefully this helps. Okay? Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Somebody said, you know, they love my channel, but it took me a half hour to find my videos again. So just subscribe, and then you'll be able to find me.